Mindset Community, Dr. Ellen here, coming to you today with your next Tire Talk. All right, so we're going to start a three-part series about breathing. So we just finished up with some hip flexor and hip considerations, and I want to start moving into breathing. Now, one of the reasons we're doing this is because the hip flexors affect the diaphragm. Literally, they have attachments, especially on the posterior aspect of the diaphragm. So if you have tight hip flexors, not only is it going to be pulling the diaphragm into poor positions, but it also pulls your whole body into poor positions. Like this, when you have tight hip flexors, your diaphragm doesn't really work that way when your pelvis is rotated anteriorly like that. So there's a lot of connection between the hip flexors and the hips, as well as the connection into your core within your breathing. So let's talk a little bit about some anatomy here. So we have our diaphragm sits on the lower end of our rib cage, okay? And that is kind of the top piece of some of the core musculature we think about. But it's not necessarily one that a lot of people work out or even are aware of their breathing. It's incredibly important to start to be aware of your breathing for many different reasons. One of which is if you're not actually effectively using your diaphragm and breathing properly, you're probably going to start some bad neuromuscular patterns, especially if you start breathing up here with some of those neck muscles that we've referred to before. In addition, you're just going to have overall poor mechanics, less efficiency. You're going to waste a lot of energy breathing more poorly. So if you can begin to maximize your breathing, the benefits are amazing. It changes you on the chemical level, the emotional level, the psychological level, all of the above. So I want to just start with kind of the first lesson of breathing and how to activate your diaphragm a little bit more and avoid using the muscles on the top of the ribs and the lung area and getting more into expanding the lower aspect of the rib cage, the diaphragm, and even into the back. So just take a couple minutes to do this with me. Come lay on the floor. You're gonna be on your back with your knees bent, okay? And I want you to put your hands on the lower part of your rib cage. And as you take a breath in, your diaphragm will move down to make room for that air. So you should see my stomach raise just a little bit. My lower ribs are going to open and spread slightly, and you're even going to feel a little bit of expanding of your ribs down into the floor, because we're never like single plane creatures. We've got work in all the X, Y, and the Z planes, horizontal, vertical, lateral, and rotational movement here. So when I take a breath in, so my hands are on the lower part of my rib cage. When I take a breath in, you're going to see my abdomen rise and my ribs spread. So again, my abdomen is just rising slightly when I inhale. When I exhale, it's pretty passive. My abdomen just starts to relax and sink back down. My diaphragm begins to raise. We're not actively working on exhaling at the moment. So I want you to try that. And this time, focus on your hands that are on the lower aspect of your rib cage. That should open and kind of swing out and expand there, but it shouldn't really have much movement generally past your hands. So again, let's try that. Breathing in, you're going to see my abdomen rise, and now you're going to focus on your hands and have those lower rib cages expand. Good. Now I want you to do it again. Again, being aware of the stomach area as well as the lower ribs. And now pay attention. You should actually have some expansion of the tissue right below your rib cage, right around your rib cage, in your back. That should also be moving, okay? So hands on the ribs again. Take a breath in and be aware of what's happening on the back side as well. Awesome. Great job for your first day. So practice that over the next week because we're going to be building on this lesson for the next couple weeks to really start to get you educated and aware and practicing these good breathing techniques so you can start to apply them to your daily life, especially in times of stress, whether that's physical stress like you're working out, emotional stress, cognitive stress, all the above, trying to get your body in the optimum health as possible. All right? We love you more than you know. Have a great week.